G'day everyone, Marc here, Marc and Cars. Today it's a pretty unique day for me. I'm in the midwest of Western Australia, a little town called Geraldton. For those of you that aren't aware of it, it's about 500 kilometres north of Perth. I'm here to have a look at a pretty special car, I'm sure you'll all agree. It is a tribute car to a 917. You can see it there in the background, I'll go over in a bit more detail shortly. 917s, well, pretty much the icon of the Porsche sporting world, having won the Le Mans in 1970 and 1971. The car was originally introduced to the public firstly at Geneva 1968, and the car itself is gone through quite a few iterations under the 917 brand. The tribute car we see here is a 917K or Curtis Heck, which is short tail. In the development of the car, in the early models they were slightly longer and the cars were deemed almost undrivable because of how slippery they were. They had just no downforce. So through the introduction of the Porsche factory racing team working with John Wire Racing of Gulf repute from the GT40 days, they worked together to come up with this shorter tail and more downforce outcome. You can see it's got some aerofoils there at the top and a bridge across the middle. Colours, this particular colour scheme you might remember from the movie Le Mans in 1971 with Steve McQueen. So here we are here with Douglas, the owner of this fantastic looking 917 Tribute, and we might just have a bit of a discussion about his journey on putting together this car. So, g'day Douglas, great to meet you face to face after plenty of emails and phone calls.
Hi Marcus.
And tell me, why the 917?
Well, I built a GT40, which I loved. When I lived in England, I had the pleasure of driving one, the first one that came off the production line for a private owner, Carl Richardson. And I loved the GT40, so when I came to Australia I found I could get a GT40 kit from Roaring Forties, which I duly built, and I flogged that onto a guy in Adelaide. And because the Porsche 917 followed the GT40 at Le Mans, I thought I'd make one of these.
I imagine there'll be a lot of internet research and things like that to decide on, who to use for the, I guess, the shell or the chassis for this project.
Well, at the only time in about 2010 or 12 when I first looked at this, RCR were the only people who had a kit that I knew of.
Okay, yep.
The product itself is superb. The greatest problem is getting it from them. It took me 2 years to get the parts, having paid for them at the very start.
Well, yeah, okay, that's not a good story, is it? But the on arrival, and let's talk about the assembly process and recruiting the right people to do that. How did you go about doing that?
Well, I knew about my friend Kyle, who had helped me on the GT40, and I said, was he interested in helping me with it? And he said, yes, he was. And so from day one...
Even after dealing with you with the GT40, you still said yes?
Well, yes, he didn't do a lot on the GT40,
yeah, okay,
because he was working in a garage for someone then, but this has all been done in his free time.
Oh, fantastic.
So...
good friend to have.
Oh, he's been fantastic, and without Kyle, the car wouldn't exist.
Yeah, okay, sure. And tell us about the drivetrain and I guess the parts you had the components that didn't come with the RCR supplied items. What do you add on there?
Well, things like the throttle body and a lot of the, obviously throttle bodies had to come, gearbox we got, but all the silencers and exhaust pipes, you call them headers over here, have all been manufactured purely for the car by a local firm who've done a superb job.
That's here in Geraldton?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Great, yeah.
Very good. A guy in Geraldton made the mudguards for me. He formulated those, formed them up and made them because they are obligatory over here.
I imagine that this is the type of work that you get done quite a bit, because Geraldton being in the Midwest here has quite a lot of agricultural industry, so there'd be bodybuilders for trucks and vehicles.
We've got some very good sheet metal workers here.
Yep.
So this particular firm, JTW, are very, very good. So we're lucky in that respect.
Yeah, good one.
And one or two other firms have been immensely helpful in making specialist one-off parts.
Sure, yep. And tell me, the engine looks like a 964 derived motor, is that right?
The engine's oil cooled 964, which I bought second hand.
Was that sourced in Western Australia?
No, it came over from over east.
Okay, yep.
And we stripped it down, or Carl did. He stripped it down and checked everything was okay. And everything looked very good inside.
Yep.
So obviously it was a used engine, but it's quite superb inside.
And there's such strong motors as well. You know, there's not, you have to really do some hard yards in one to require a lot of work on them.
And the gearbox I got from Gearbox in America, because the gearbox on this car being at the back, where all Porsches normally have it at the front,
sure.
things had to be reversed, so you don't get 4 reverse and 1 forward.
So it's a it's a 4-speed 930 box, is
yes,
it?
Yeah,
good one.
930 box, 4-speed.
I'm semi-conscious that particular gearbox is pretty popular for a mid-engine conversion on a lot of vehicles. Even
a lot of people use the 930 gearbox, yeah.
I hope they supplied the windscreen.
Well, they did, but that in itself was a saga, because they said the delivery, one of the delivery hold-ups, they said was the windscreens are made in Australia, and he said I can't get them at the moment. So anyhow, when he sent the original kit, he sent windscreen, and then I wanted another windscreen because it's got a crack in it.
Sure.
And so I got another one. So I've got a spare windscreen, unboxed, which is a handy thing to have.
How tall are you, Douglas? You're not a little guy.
6'3".
6'3". How's it go sitting in the cockpit? Your stature?
Not comfortable.
No. So you won't be driving across the Nullarbor to the Phillip Island Classics in this, I'm guessing?
Not a chance, no.
Yeah, okay.
I've got this lovely Race King trailer behind it.
Oh yeah, okay, it's a hydraulic lowering one too. Yeah, nice. You can see here I consciously didn't film myself getting in because I would have got about a 7 from the Russian judge on my entry performance. The seating position is very angled towards the centre of the car, which would make driving it quite good as in a race type environment. The reach of the placement of the steering wheel is quite good for my stature, but I'm realistically probably about a foot too short to even reach pedals. In fact, I can't even reach them. Tippy toe, I'll show you. So I'd be curious to see much taller people in. The seats right now I know aren't secured into the car. They're just sitting in here because the seats are about to get cleaned. And I think even with my height clearance, I imagine it'd be a much more laid back position for a person to actually be able to drive and use this.
If I sit in your position now, the doors close just above my head.
Oh, yep, just here? Yeah, so you can see.
You look quite a gap there.
And also the visibility height here between the top of the binnacle and the windscreen is actually quite a small height here. I can imagine it's like the better part of only about 150 mil, maybe 200 mil high. So with those big bulging guards, it's not a car for peak hour traffic, there's no doubt about that, but it's also not why you buy a car like this, is it? So it's a pretty exciting cockpit to sit in. It's definitely all business. There's not a single piece of soundproofing or anything down here. I reckon it'd make all the right noises, especially with that engine sitting right there behind us. Yeah, I think be a pretty exciting car to drive. Just to give you some idea of scale and the size of the car, I am 5 foot exactly. You see how low this car is for me. 3 foot tall. There you go. What's that? 36 inches. Smaller than GT40. So there you go. With the wind picking up, I decided to voice over the last part of this video. I'd just like to thank Douglasb for giving me the opportunity to get up close and personal to a car like this. It's not very often you see these types of projects or experiences that people go through. If you're actually in the market for a car like this, Douglasb is hoping to sell this car, so his contact details are below, so please do not hesitate in getting in touch with him. It will be road registered when he sells it, so if you live anywhere in Australia, you will be able to drive it on the public roads. really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. Please think about subscribing and sharing the video. If you've got any comments, put them below. I'll always enjoy reading them. And thanks for watching Marc and Cars.